Here's one thing we know about some of Donald Trump's closest advisors. They have mixed business, politics, and crime to create great wealth and greater risk. So you can't grasp this era without understanding those forces and how a hustler's mindset applies to the laws of power. So tonight, we turn to an expert in the game, Grammy Award-winning hip-hop artist and businessman 50 Cent, who's rapped that friends can call him by his government name, Curtis Jackson. He's sold over 30 million albums, working with artists like Eminem, Dr. Dre. His hit In Da Club was #1 on Billboard's Hot 100 for over 2 months. It made Rolling Stone's list of the greatest songs of all time across all genres. He is a producer and an actor in the hit Starz show Power. He's also starring in the movie Den of Thieves with Gerard Butler. And Jackson grew up in Queens, surviving a 9-shot gun attack, and took on the music industry itself with early controversial songs like Ghetto Quran and How to Rob, a fearlessness that clearly paid off, which he explores in The 50th Law, a book he co-wrote with Robert Greene. It all made him rich, and he's established deals in recording, book publishing, energy drinks, a champagne that retails for over $300. And Jackson made an estimated $50 million or more when his vitamin water stake was sold to Coke in 2007. Forbes has named him one of the top 5 wealthiest artists in hip-hop. 50 Cent, so excited to have you here.
Oh, man, happy to be here, Ari.
You know business, you know politics, you know power, and you know Donald Trump a little bit. You even had him on your G-Unit radio show in 2005. Let's look at that.
Oh, all right, 50.
That's
we got Donald Trump here.
I hear you on there with the big man.
How you doing?
Oh, man, I'm fine.
Well, you know, I have some kids, and myself included, but I have kids, they think you are the best, the absolute best. Wow. That's pretty cool, I'll tell you. My little daughter Ivanka and my son Eric, these people, they just love your music. Wow.
Oh, man, I'm going to keep making it.
Well, you're going to keep making it. You better keep making it.
A lot of laughs back then. What's changed?
Wow, I mean, a lot's changed. You know, I didn't know that he shared the views that he kind of showed people over the period that he's been the president. I did learn from his behaviors that he'll personalize things.
Personalize it.
He will take it personal.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm thinking about that book I mentioned by Robert Greene, and he describes you in it. He says 50 Cent's lack of fear is displayed by his attitude and his actions. He lived through too many dangerous encounters to be remotely fazed by anything in the corporate world.
Right.
And he wrote that you'd walk away and not care. And I want to ask you about that, because that really overlaps with some of your analysis about Donald Trump being an accidental president and not fearing anything when he was a candidate. Take a look.
His presidency is an accident. If you were a president by accident, you might do some of the things Donald Trump is doing. I think he was doing that to build his profile for a bigger deal on television and everything else.
How did you come to that view? Because a lot of people agree with that, and that's kind of scary if that's the reason he became president.
Yeah, I think it was a surprise to him when he actually won. You know, because he said things that were really graphic in the campaign. Just generally, people were into the idea of someone who's non-politician.
Now, people know you for your art and I think for your business. They may not know that, like the rest of us, you've been following the news in the Trump era. I want to show a little bit of something people may not have seen that you posted to your followers on the internet.
Right.
When the news first broke that Michael Cohen, Trump's lawyer's home and office, was raided, you had no doubt what was going to happen next. Let's take a look at this.
He gonna snap. He gonna tell all of it. Michael liked Trump, but he don't like him enough to go through that time for him. He ain't from the neighborhood.
You were proven right because he did flip. Why is it that you were so sure he would flip?
Well, I know the federal guidelines are the same no matter where you are.
Okay.
And Michael is still a straight-laced guy, still an attorney, and can't bear that kind of pressure.
Can't bear the pressure. You mentioned the federal guidelines. That's something people talk about in the street. Yeah. It's something lawyers talk about. A lot of people may not know this, so I'm going to quote 50 to 50, if that's okay. In one of your older songs, I'm a Hustler, you said, when the feds come in the game, loyalty's limited. With the feds, you do 85% of your time. Duke, you get 10, you'll damn near do 9. And this is from the federal guidelines themselves that you're quoting. All federal prisoners must spend a minimum of 85% of their sentences behind bars before becoming eligible for release.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like I'm telling the truth because I'm using the slang and the hip-hop energy there, but it's a fact. You're going to tell them more than they need to know. He's gonna tell them everything. Like, okay, is that enough? Keep going. And then, so they had to make some adjustments. You know, it's definitely not over.
I want to ask you about guns, because you know this is very controversial. Let's start again with your lyrics. From High All the Time, which is an interesting song, you say, look, you don't want me to be your kid's role model. I'll teach him how to buck them 380s and load up them hollows. In Power of the Dollar, another classic, you said, look, parents warn their kids about people like me. And you have that persona. But anyone watching this now sees you here as a very professional, successful businessman at this point in your life, but you still post online a lot. You say, get the strap,
right.
Talking about these guns. Do you ever worry that the kids who look up to you so much might get the wrong impression about that? Do you think you're supporting gun use?
I think people are smart enough to understand the things that you say versus the things that you do are two different things. Mm-hmm. You know, they understand the difference between entertainment and the reality of your lifestyle or what you're living, what you're doing. Because you wouldn't be able to be as successful as I've been to this point if I was living exactly the way the lyrics.
So when you say get the strap, does that mean go get a gun and kill someone?
Well, actually, when I originally started using the catchphrase, it's like whenever I seen something shocking, I would say, get the strap. Like, what do you do when this happens? Like, when there's nothing else, because when there's a point of confusion in the environment that I grew up in, there's points where there's nothing left to do but get this strap.
A couple other lines I want to ask you about. This is one of yours. You said, here's a jewel, love your enemies and hate your friends. Your enemies remain the same, friends always change. What does that mean?
That means, you know, like when a person becomes an enemy of yours, this notably someone that you have differences with, they stay in the same position. You keep your distance from them, you watch them, and they stay the same. The friends, the people that you allow closer to you, they have the ability to have the seeds that don't require water to grow, of entitlement. So you may do some things for them, but it may never be enough.
Another lyric from one of your softer songs, 21 Questions, which is a great karaoke song because it's got a slow beat. If I went back to a hoopty from a Benz, would you poof and disappear?
Like some of my friends.
What does that mean?
Would you disappear? If I fell off or if I had a setback, would you disappear like some of my friends?
So if you stay on top, how do you ever know who those people are?
Time will show you. You know, some of these people have expiration dates. They spoil like milk.
You know I'm a big fan, 50 Cent. I appreciate you coming on the beat.
Oh, man, I love seeing you, man. Every time you start talking, I see you when I flip through the news and stuff. We stop immediately because we know something's going to be said that's cooler than usual.
Well, thank you very much. That means a lot. Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.